and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And in this one, we have to look at ZAC because he's a bit of a problem. Very, very strong, and if you will note, on the best junglers video I just released on the main channel, he's in the S tier page. He's been strong the whole season. Always do this when you play ZAC, especially ZAC mains know this. Always blow yourself up like a balloon animal. And, you know, the amount of CC damage and survivability he has is a bit of an issue, I think, and kind of makes him borderline broken for the general player base. But also, if you like tank jungling, this is the way to go. But for the first time ever on this channel, Rust has a message.
Have you ever wondered what the key is to unlock LP gains? Clearly it is the password of knowledge, but for every other password you have, you need a password manager. NordPass is here to help you keep track of all 23 Smurfs you own. But more than that, it is a cybersecurity tool that makes your life easier and safer. Global research has shown that most of you create and use suboptimal passwords, and that simply will not do. The last thing you want is for all your account's beautiful skins to be compromised when you're logging in online for the esports rewards. NordPass does much like what Rust does for the Rift when he removes Yumis from existence. You're welcome. It is a simple-to-use, very secure password manager created by those who invented NordVPN. It will store all your passwords in one place so you can focus on using your mind to gain Turbo Giga LPs. It'll help you log in faster for when you need access to all your various sites and accounts while generating secure passwords, saving you time and keeping your password health absolutely top-notch, like my physique. Click the link below to keep your passwords protected with NordPass for a safe and secure society. Get 70% off a 2-year plan on NordPass using code Virkayu with a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Thank you very much, Russ, for delivering that so eloquently. And the rest of us now, we're back with ZAC. Runes in your screen now. Conqueror page, not Aftershock. The reason for that is because, as I was saying before, we had Rust kind of interfere a little bit with our programming. It is the fact that his CC antagonist, while disgusting, it's the damage that takes him over the edge. And I think if we're going to deal with this champion in the next coming months, durability patch made him much stronger as well. He was strong the whole season already. We might need to be removing some of that damage. But as he starts Wolves, a good clear for all of us. W start on the Wolves, something that people don't. Oh, so generous from the Lulu. Thank you. But, you know, this is a good different route for you guys to take. The whole point, though, is if you go on League of Graphs and you search ZAC, High Elo, Master Plus, and you have a look at, you know, high KDA games, it's astounding. It's astounding. You look and you just see 0 death, 0 death, 1 death, 0 death. The champion not only does this much damage and this much CC and has this much of a headache for laners and junglers alike, but then he's not dying either. So let's have a look to see how we can use him to climb and thrive. The reason why this is a good clear, unless you're against a Kindred, of course, or something like that that might cheese you, is it gives you the opportunity to go solo leashless. Great, the question mark of where exactly am I? Although, you know, after this video, I think it'll be less of a question mark. And then, of course, you can go straight down to gank this. Now, does this open you up to top lane counter junglers? Yes. That's why we ward. That's why we ward. But otherwise, if there's nothing available, simply carry on because your clear isn't the fastest, but it's highly, highly respectable. And obviously, with a few points in that E, now you're just slingshotting around the map. And you really start to clear pretty easily once you have Sunfire. Normally, we are seeing the Frostfire Gauntlet Demonics build. But on E-West specifically, where this is from, Challenger level play, you're seeing a lot of Sunfire Demonics and obviously Magi. So let's have a look at how we can use Conqueror for added damage. Let's look at to see how we can do the most damage in a game. That's a good one. Q into the red, into the Krugs, a classic one from the ZAC clears. And let's see how we can dominate a Seraphine Senna Wukong lane who ganks our Heimerdinger early. He survives. But he doesn't because he goes back in for some strange, peculiar reason. Anyway, I mean, that's a loaded enemy team comp. Yeah, we can all agree on that. Absolutely loaded. So how do we carry this game? Let's find out. Right. Full clear, done. Typically, as a tank jungler, you're going to note... tank jungler, you're going to note that these early clears, where you go for full clear or so on, you're not going to be as fast. You're not going to have the same kind of fisting potential in the rivers. This is not always the most wise decision. Anyway, as I said, obviously this is why he also doesn't die because of the blobbies, but at the same time, a lot of ZACs will still die 5-6 times a game because they don't, you know, use their passive correctly. So if we see the Wukong show up here, right, and then he goes down, and we can kind of track his timers on the buffs by clicking on them. You see, you know, like on the ZAC here, you can click it, you see the timers, there you go. I mean, you don't really see it on your screen, super small, but in game you can time. And you can see that the blue's about to time out, so we know we did blue first and then red second. Same thing for the Wukong. If he shows here and you're not sure exactly what clear he did, you at least know where he began. So he's probably sequencing the other direction to grab this comes back mid lane expectedly, and now goes and double crabs, and then repeat ganks the Heimerdinger. So this, absolutely normal stuff. Now for ZAC, you could stay here, do this, and then gank bot lane, but it's okay just to simply reset for your Ionian Boots of Lucidity, which is what this player likes to do, because now, the jungle boot, more rotations of spells in the meta where we need to have longer fights. Yes, I enjoy. Now we're going to hold the mid lane, so, you know, the Heimerdinger's tragedy is our benefit. It allows us to absorb experience and, of course, get a little bit ahead. Now the monkey is only level 4 from what we can see on our side, and we're on the same CS with 2 ganks, which is really expected. If bot lane is gankable, and mid is standard, then I would advise kind of grump bot or bot and then full back. That's why this whole taking the wolves here is not always the best kind of thing before you base, but for us it's a break-even amount of gold that we really, really want. Now, Trinimir versus Darius. Swing! 530 wave will give us 6, so we want to make sure we are scanning, checking our approach. Good. If you can gank a Trinimir or Shan or something before 6, we want to, but... And you know, I mean, bot lane and mid lane, I mean, enemy jungler is a bit more ganky in terms of early impact. This is not unheard of when you are a tank jungler. I mean, ZAC does like to gank, obviously, but you're not always going to have the same tempo advantage here. So the Trinimir decides to fully commit, knowing that ZAC was just in the area. The Darius gets a heal. We have the bleed. Can he escape? Swoop-de-swoop. And we keep the stacks alive. ZAC gets the killer beautifully. We get 6 from that. We start to ult the monkey. We peel in front. Queen's applause. Thumbs up. In the chat and in the comment section. Bad decision by the Wukong to disrespect the fact that ZAC just showed. Bad decision by the top laner to disrespect the fact that the ZAC just showed. The ZAC, on the other hand, heads up play, moves immediately. Just early today, there was a Graves doing Gromp instead of a Dragon, and, you know, I'm kind of coaching and saying, well, why didn't you go to the Dragon? You must. And, classic case of reactive pricing, and that's what ZAC looks for. If you struggle to find an opening for a typical gank, a typical pressure opening in the early phase, look for that counter gank. Now, we have 2 kills. We're gonna go ahead, there you go, and get Bombies, Cinder, E out of base for maximum mobility. Let's have a look here. Low twitch, stun twitch, monkey twitch, Lulu gonna not whimsy, but at least turbo sprint away. Yeah, Wukong nerfs 160% to 120% clearing bonus damage on his E. No longer will you be auto-boosted, monkey players. Fling your feces somewhere else. And again, look at this. I mean, you could go hold this, but at the same time, do we want to show? Do we want to kind of chill? The Wukong could look to do this solo, but at the same time, he wasn't even 5 from that gank as he disappeared. Sorry, 6. He's 6 now, obviously, but, you know, I don't like kind of this low elo attitude of, hey, look, they're on the dragon, let's go contest it. So he might have been able to get away with it, but it's not really worth the risk. Both junglers kind of just handshaking that. We're going to do fall back to our Grump and Blue, get level 7. Senna was in the mid lane, so we know she's going to try and ward come down here. We can shadow this. She'll probably hit a plant and spot us. Well, that's... Who saw that coming, right? We do have Dark Seal, and now because we are expecting the Wukong to be a little bit detached at this stage, and obviously Seraphine on tower, Senna having to go the long way back, we can use that that prior to go ahead and take the dragon, so that's nice. And the Hextech Drake is always good on everybody. That's Soul. Don't want to give it. You don't want to give it. You know, some souls you can kind of go, I'll play around it, but the Hextech Soul I feel is just something feels very potent. You know what I mean? Okay, so we see this here. We're going onto a Corki. We hit the E. We're going to queue them back together, baby. And we have ult up, but again, a little bit of a chunk. Wukong is forced to react. That's fine. Normally, you see... Normally you see you would have your mid laner not inting and you could get like easy ganks in the mid lane there from that range. The Wukong is making me question many things about this world as he flashes onto the ZAC for a red smite for some peculiar reason. I mean, what? He burns the ult but he doesn't kill him and then he goes and steals a Raptor camp and then dies. So the enemy team, laners, feel free to flame you Wukong, rightly so, and ZAC can go, well, I know you took your red, you didn't have a blue buff, so I'm gonna take that while you're dead. Always look to punish the bad positioning and bad mistakes of enemy junglers. That's a difference between your challenger junglers and your low elo junglers. Immediately in takes it, looks top lane for a particular dive, because obviously we had a huge counter gank earlier, and if he has no ult, because again, you should be F-king around to track this, sometimes your Darius will spam ping it, he will let you know and you can play around it, but it is on you to do the best you can F-king around the map to see when crucial ults, like you see I just clicked here and he flashes, so now I know I can ping Corki flash, right? So in game, you're doing that the whole time. Great timing and example of that. Obviously in this, we kind of look at the clears a little bit and other things, so we don't, you know, always click around as much as one would in game, but definitely keep that in mind, please. But very good. 2-0-1 now. If you have a oh wait, let's go. E onto the quirky. Queued. Anything else to queue to? We tried. If you have a bit of a slower, methodical early game like this, you let the Wukong do his thing. You just farm. You look for some counter ganks, a few ganks, pressure points, you know, as you can, some counter junglings. That's great. Oof, that range is already up. Now, the next phase of the early game is when you have to start to ramp it up as a tank jungler. It's okay to kind of have ganking pressure and not have the same 1v1 potential or the same farming cadence as a Karthus. You know, you're not a Rek'Sai, you're not a Karthus, but it's this phase where you need to make sure you're as strong as possible. In this case, you know, 2 levels out of the enemy jungle is prime. Like, that's exactly what we're looking for. And now you need to get involved. So let's see how we can go from 2-0-1 to huge damages and huge KDAs. Right. Let's see. How can we do it? Wolf, please. Top lane's going at it again. He's just gonna ult you, man. Challenger, by the way. It's tough. It's tough to press a button sometimes. I mean, it happens every time with Tryndamere. When we cover Rengar and there's a Tryndamere, I'm like, he's gonna... Never mind. Because most Rengars know you can one-shot a Tryndamere before he ults. So Corki, again, like at this point, you've been ganked 1,000 times. You're completely disrespecting the ZAC E-Bomb. ZAC goes in, he says, look, I'm 2 levels above you. I have Dark Seal, I have Balmy Cinder, I am ZAC, I'm... and the Conqueror fully stacked with 12 stacks there, which again, added AP ratios. Your damage is disgusting. And that's what you will note if you play against ZAC. Now we can counter jungle like this, you see? Counter jungle, easy. Ganking, easy. Moving from side to side, easy. Camp to camp, easy. Lane to raptors, easy. The mobility isn't just for your ganking range, it's for your general movement. Look at this, you see? The cooldown now, we're at, what, just under 8 seconds? Oh, sorry, it says 8.9, but because obviously when it's channeling. So by the time you've landed, already under 8 seconds, you know, you can afford to use it. Right, the Seraphine. I'm surprised the Seraphine actually got through. The Seraphine and Senna going through is a little bit disgusting. As most of you will know, that should be a combo that shouldn't be allowed at this stage, but you know what? C'est la vie. But it's curious that the blue team sees him E over the ward to the Raptor pit there, so we kind of know he's flanking, but bot lane doesn't track it, and bot lane ends up dying for it. We do have Bobbies available. We have the wings over the health bar, much like Anivia stuff. Oh. $7-0-1. What'd I tell you? 2-0-1 to 7-0-1 in a few minutes. We got 5 kills. Because 2 plus 5 equals 7. You're welcome. Flash, short-term E into the damage. You see, the thing is, when you're chucking out your W's, and you obviously that's the most important thing here, and you're picking them up to heal the whole time, plus you got Conqueror stacks loaded, the damage up front already is enough. Because they're CC, they can't react to or move to it. This champion, I swear, is a little bit too strong in general. And there are ways to deal with them, but how do you deal with it when they're just methodical and controlled? And that's the thing, right? Starts wolves, a little bit leashless, just kind of adds pressure, does a good counter gank, gets himself fed, pressures mid lane enough that eventually it's disrespected, does some good counter jungling when the enemy jungler overcommits, makes a bad play, and in this case the Wukong is making Wukong look like he doesn't need nerfs, he does, but out-farmed, out-ganked, outplayed, out-objectived, well, minus the Herald. Beautiful job by the ZAC. Now, as most of you know, when you play even a regular tank jungler, are we even calling him that at this point? I think we can apply the Ornn description to ZAC. Assassin, basically. You know, when you play a typical tank jungler, you think, oh, I've got a lead, I've helped my team. Yes, I have the kills and all the resources, but you're still at the whims of your team coming online. Now, you might look at the Lulu and the Twitch and say, well, they can do stuff. Let me tell you, they do the same amount of damage combined that the Heimerdinger does in the whole game, both of them, right? So this is really a ZAC hybrid damage, most important player of the game award. And, you know, just a little bit of disruption there. We're going to go underneath the tower now. We do have a little ultimate as well. We do have blobbies. We are charmed. We get a little altered and we just burn her down with the Sunfire Aegis. Love Sunfire. Hi, Wukong. Hello, sir. You're down 3 levels to a ZAC jungle. Let me just pick up some of those blobbies and heal. Let me just keep doing that and burning you down. I got a fully stacked Conqueror as well. What are you going to do, monkey? Ape? And we E out to safety. I hope you're understanding the magnitude of what you're witnessing in terms of jungle lead. The Wukong really is very, very confusing, but, you know, most ZACs have been doing this. And as I said, you look in Korea, you look in EOS specifically, you're seeing a lot of, you're seeing a lot of these kind of ZAC KDAs and ZAC games. Really, like, I had a lot to choose from, but I wanted one where, you know, there was one way like 92% KP, but the game was over in 20 minutes. So I kind of wanted a game that went a little bit longer, was a little bit closer, and really required him to do the work, the heavy lifting. He wasn't just a benefactor of Eing in and getting assists and kills. You know, I wanted to show you something where the guy has to do the work in order to win the game. Corki's still 12, Corki's still an issue, Corki's still annoying. We're going to clear that, kill the Wukong again. 902. That's 9 if we were Kai'Sa. Let's see. We took this, pushing up. They do have bounties now. It's kind of weird they have bounties 3k gold down. Like, I understand the concept of bounties here, but it's a Seraphine Senna Corki, Tryndamere. You know, them being down 3k gold is fine. Is literally fine, right? That's exactly what you want for that kind of team, to be within that kind of touching distance. Obviously, it's not as... It's, you know, the ZAC has the majority of the gold as well, right? We've got a 2k gold lead over the enemy jungler, and we by far have the most gold in the game, especially on our team. As you can see there, I swapped it. So the bounties are really just punishing the ZAC for doing a good job, which is where I kind of... I would prefer to see it if it was activated when sort of your laner counterpart, on average, like say the gap between each of you and your laner counterpart was... I don't know, 1,000, right? So then you've got like a 5,000 gold lead. Everyone on average is ahead 1,000 gold. Something like that. But anyway, maybe that works out to be the same and I don't know what I'm talking about. But at the very least, you have to acknowledge it. Because if they get this, if they get this, if they get this, and they get this, of course, they get bounties. They're back in the game. And now you're again at the whims of your carries. And as ZAC, you don't really have to worry about that because you are the carry. I think we've established that, but it's worth saying again. So obviously in this case, we tried kills. We just loop back around to this. Wukong is calling a bluff on the Herald. I don't know why. They're crashing this into this tower. So normally we would do this. We can go here. We can also loop back around to this. But if they rotate and move, ZAC is already in the meantime got in as Twitch is camoing up. There we go. Careful. He avoids it. He avoids it for now. Wukong. Poor ADC. Poor ADC. Or as the F1 commentator in Belgium says here, pauvre Charles, all the time when his Ferrari breaks. But same thing for ADCs, I suppose. We've got a good fight here. Let's have a look here. We're going to E back in. We're going to kill the Senna, I think, is a good focal point. Make sure you're picking up your blobbies as much as you can to get that sustain. And with the Conqueror fully stacked plus a Lulu plus a heals, I mean, it's disgusting. If you can have a personal Lulu, you know, perhaps that's something you would like to invest in. That sounds weird, but you know what I mean. Having a Lulu, like if you're Kindred, you want a Zillion mid or something like that. That's really, really useful. As disgusting as and annoying as that champion can be. It's one of the most, like, broken, unbroken champions, right? Like, no one thinks Zillion needs to be nerfed, but it's just, it's one of those champs. There's a specific class of champs like that are always just going to be vexing to face. Vex is another one. Well, not at the moment. She has been, but not really at the moment. I feel like we can deal with her. Right, back to base. Demonic's Embrace is completed, and now we can shake it in their face because, we do lift, although he does skip like that a little bit, but we're a big boy at this point. In the back tail, I wonder if they used the same tech in the back of his head with Belveth's kind of weird ponytail thing, except hers doesn't float around as much. Interesting. There was a story, as we go in again. Hello, you're over committee to kill my split pushing Twitch. Let me just flash ult knockback. That's a classic one. The best thing was bringing back that ult instead of being like a parachute delivery system. Look at this. He is simultaneously a fighter in the back line, I guess that's the best way to put it, while being a tank disrupting with 8 years of CC, and they can't kill him. They can't kill the back line because he's separating them from it. It's a tough matchup. Ace. 1306. 3 dragons to 0. you can do that as well, right? You can E across and smite it. Just most people, you can. I think most people know at this point, but you can E over and then just smite while you're Eing over, so you don't actually have to go in for the steal and die. If you want to maintain your perfect sort of the pumping of the chest after he releases the herald there is absolutely perfect. I mained this champion season 5. You know, I started playing season really properly January. Season 4 like was the first season I did placements and so on. Played a little bit end of season 3, and that whole season was great and so on. But I think I started obviously bronze 4 because I was unranked and a new player. I think I ended like plat 3, and at the beginning of season 5 got diamond, right? So it was within 13, 14 months. And I used ZAC at the beginning of season 5. So I've always enjoyed his philosophy about the jungle, but at the same time, since they did the rework and shifted things, I've never really played him. But I do know the champion, I know what it feels like to play, and I like seeing him relevant and strong, but at the same time, the Q was a little bit different back then, but at the same time, whew, this is a meaty carry potential jungler. And as you can see, we're not going full on tank anywhere. We're definitely an AP fighter at this stage. Right, you can still throw games though, and especially against the Seraphine Senna. That is not something, I mean, maybe not this Seraphine Senna. They seem to be not understanding what a ZAC can do or what a Seraphine can do. But hey, you know, hold up. Okay, we're getting flanked from every single angle here. And ZAC is now keeping his distance. He knows when to leave, and he just disengages and leaves. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You can throw. So this was basically a throw upon a throw upon a throw. We can do that once his ult finishes off. Okay, can we look for a re-entry point? Because we do have passive to play around. They might look to coin flip a Baron here, but I think it's a little bit risky. It's a little bit risky for your blue team to coin flip this Baron. Yeah, exactly. Because Zac's alive, he's huge, he can one-shot you, he's 4 levels up on the Wukong. Yeah, so we got flanked by the Wukong, flanked by the Trundamere. Their missed ults didn't really matter, and of course, know when to leave. You know, know when to leave fights that are definitely doomed. Back to base. Spirit Visage. I think that's a good purchase. I mean, you can go into the Zhonya's if you're going a bit more heavy AP focus. Obviously the Randuin's full male arc if you're a bit more tanky in terms of your desire, and of course the matchup. But in this case, we've got here the Seraphine, the Corki, and Senna and Wukong and Trinmere are going to do a lot of AD, but the Zhonya's armor, perfectly sufficient for our purposes, although of course you can still go Thormail and other things as you wish, which against a healing comp is not so bad, especially if they're attacking you a lot. The problem with Bramblevest is if you're not being attacked, you're not really getting the benefit, so it's good to use. You have to decide as a team comp who's going to get it and how you're going to use it. Obviously, it's been nerfed anyway. So we're going to slide on in here and snack away that El Baron. E straight back into the fight. We're going to zone right in front of the Wukong. We're going to queue them together to stun him. We're going to start ulting and bouncing. We're rooted. Doesn't really matter. E's back up again. Let's go back line. Hello. Doesn't really matter. We do have passive here. We can use our stopwatch to go into stasis. Really good stasis model, actually, ZAC has. And again, it's just an absolute 1v9 of positioning. Max range E-bomb. We do lose our passive, unfortunately. Turrets are taking the tower shot. Blobbies are being fisted a little bit, but can... That was close. So, I actually didn't know that happened, obviously. I picked a game with 0 deaths, but I didn't know that it was going to be that close. That was a little bit lucky. Without the turret, we'd probably die. Go ahead and... He's so small with a squeaky voice now. That's a nice little change they gave us a couple years ago. Go ahead and take their jungle camps. Obviously, we've got this crab, we've got this wave, we've got a TP flank here as well. Hopefully they can see that. Team is kind of overstaying just a little bit, disrespecting death timers, which is important. We're going to back here. Ooh, sidestep and back. We have Baron buff. Is it really worth the Senna ult? Get in their heads. Get in Lena's heads like that. Okay, what are we got? We got Spirit Visage, obviously Amplifier Healing, plus a Magic Resist, which is obviously what we want to stay alive. And we'll go into the Zhonya's, I suppose, to finish when we have the cash monies. It's... You know, if AD is really not a threat for you and you're focusing more on the APs and they're kind of dealing the most damage, then it's better to finish the Spirit Visage. Obviously, you get the healing, you get the resistance. But if you're dealing mostly with the AP threats, then finish your armor item first. You can sit on the Spectre's Cowl. I know the healing is good, but at the same time, it's about the resistances that you're tanking in fights. So that's how you kind of decide, do I finish my armor item or my magic resist item first? Okay, Sol Point. Let's have a look. Wukong is there. ZAC uses E to reposition himself. That is a shame, literally. But why would you begin it? You know, like, I don't understand this. I know the Twitch is dead, but the timer is 1, 9, and 5. All right, this really is ZAC against the world, isn't it? In we go! Knock them together. Ult them. W at the same time. Everybody's dead. Double kill backline assassino. Trinimir goes backline into a Heimerdinger for some peculiar reason. There's just no respect for ZAC. There's no way for them to play against it, and there's no respect, which begs the point. If you are against, you know, good flash. If you are playing ZAC or against the ZAC, you need to be able to kite yourself back and understand the peel angle and kind of repositioning your team so that he's not separating your whole team from your backline divers. And at the same time, if you're a backline diver against a ZAC, sometimes you have to kind of belay that and make sure that you can deal with the ZAC first. But ZAC just makes it so difficult. Really, really does. The damage is my issue. Everything else I love. I think he's a great champion. He's definitely the best tank jungler at the moment. But the damage is a little high. And the fact that he can build like this and still be unholy tanky is a bit of the issue. But durability patch, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. And I'm not complaining, right? This is just like observation, and I'm trying to be objective. You know I like tanks. You know I prefer playing beefy people. I also do like playing hyper carries as well, like your Belvest and Kai'Sa and Zyra jungles. So I understand both sides of the coin. Over the wall! And burn. I mean, 3,518. You can't see it. Ah, shit, sorry. I cut it off so it looks kind of nice for you, but 3,518. I'll link the match history in the description below. The patch is the game is from this patch, so you too can go ahead and look at the replay and confirm the number if you doubt me. But if you do, that's a little bit disrespectful. I don't lie about those things. All about the data. Q, don't go over aggressive here. We have resets. We have how much? 1850. So, you know, if you don't have enough to finish Zhonya's, there's no real reason to go back because we're not going to sell a stopwatch. They overcommit into a wave of cannons. We're going to go backline here. The Seraphine's a bit out of position. We can do the job of an assassin and go backline there and turn back to Peel. So 19, 0, 13. Conqueror ZAC. Let's have a look at those stats. We have here total healing 1125, so meaningful. And we have here 4,514 bonus healing. And of course we have Alulu, so the shielding component of Spirit Visage plus Revitalize is huge. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A fun one for you. A great way to show you how strong a ZAC can be with a little bit of patience, intelligence, understanding of positioning, and using your E against immobile champions, even if they are very, very strong. 1v9, fighter, tank, assassin, backline, dive, peel, bot, CC, god, damage, king, blob of mayhem. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed and learned something. Don't forget my Volibear and Warrior guides, live companion coaching as well. All linked in the description. Coaching available on Patreon. VODs and signups if you choose to follow that path. And as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.